Hi, I'm Zach Stewart.
Laura Hotchkiss.
And I'm Daniel Kvoras. On this podcast, we improvise in character as hosts of a morning radio show in a fictional country called the Driftwood Isles.
Everything we say is made up, and none of the events, people, or places are real.
It's that simple. Now enjoy this episode of Good Morning Driftwood. And welcome on back to Good Morning Driftwood with your morning time pals, me, Dirk Wiley, and my fellow morning time pals, Bench PerDiem.
Me.
Indeed, you, Bench.
Hi.
You sound shocked.
I always go last.
Oh, no. This time you're second on the list.
Exciting.
And next, Penelope MacGuffin.
Hello.
Don't take it personally that I happened to say Bench first this
I
time.
hadn't until you brought it up. I was just like, that's fine.
I didn't bring up Bench. Brought it up.
Oh,
It
no,
wasn't
it
appointed.
wasn't until you apologized for it. I didn't think there was anything to apologize for.
Okay.
And now I'm like, maybe there is something to apologize for.
You're just as close to my heart as ever,
Mm-hmm.
if not closer.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you've handled that a little poorly, I do judge you a little bit for that.
I'm just like to apologize to any listeners as well who heard a dunt sound there, which is what happens when you batter a can of drink off a microphone stand. I just discovered.
Penelope does
Dunt.
love a can of drink.
It was a fun sound though, and I think hopefully someone cut it and recorded it and remixes it.
What genre of drink you drinking there?
What genre? Just
Thriller.
a jazzy
Jazz.
little.
Is it a cola drink? Is it a
little cola
citrus drink?
Is it a vodka drink? Is it a whiskey
mixed
drink? Is
it
it
a
a?
milk drink?
It is unfortunately
milk
just
drink.
a cola drink.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Can we just get that sound clean? Because I don't think I heard it.
The bump. There it is.
Thank you.
There it is. It's nice Foley work from Penny
Love
this
it.
morning. Getting on to important matters of the day. Bench.
Me.
You look like you can't wait to. You got something in your craw that you need to get out.
Well, yes and no. Here's the thing. We've been, the management and the radio station has been wanting us to do more stuff that can, go viral. So
Everyone's talking about
everyone's
going
talking about viral. So they made me write up this listicle, basically.
Listicle.
Like a list, like a top 10 things,
It's part list,
Okay.
part icicle.
So like a series of icicles.
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
then you
understand.
number the icicles.
Based on size,
Well, it can be different things. Like it could be a rating. It could be size,
clarity, how
Distance.
well you can see through
Yeah.
it.
Chronologically.
Distance. What's
Yeah.
distance?
distance from the icicles.
Yeah.
Icicle distance from each
Chronologically,
other.
which one started first?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is-
Fascinating.
this
So
is
you're
not
talking
bad.
about icicles?
No. This list is the top 10 things that Pirates of the Caribbean got wrong about pirates.
Ooh, shots fired
Well,
at
we'll
Pirates
be
of the
here
Caribbean.
For a while.
Yeah, this is, I
Mm.
had to narrow this down to 10.
So that movie is not historically accurate, you're saying?
Not very,
But somewhat.
somewhat. Because there
Okay.
are pirates. We like that.
So they nailed the fact that there were
That there were
technically pirates.
They got that.
Okay, we can give them that.
Hey, to start that off, they got that right. Can't argue with that. Pirates?
Were they in the Caribbean?
Probably.
I really wish we still had the curator of the
We
museum
don't,
here.
we don't have
Yeah.
her.
To give
But
us
that
these
was last
answers.
week.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
last week.
Man, I miss her. I think about her sometimes.
You've stopped emailing her though, right? We said you weren't going to email her anymore.
Well, she never replied, but I
Yeah.
started hearing the replies in my mind.
No.
So I do.
That's-
She is
That's
responding to
not-
me.
No,
Not how an
that's
email
not
chain works.
good.
Okay.
Not how an email chain works.
I think if I just found her like face to face,
Nope.
she'd give me some.
Mm-mm.
No. No, you're not going to find her.
Boundaries.
Not
Talked
going to
about
find her.
Okay.
You're going to,
All right.
you can
You
leave
guys
her
talk-
alone. Yep.
You've talked to me about this.
Mhm.
There you
Working
go.
on it. She is not my Lord and Savior.
Mhm.
She is not a godlike deity.
Mm-mm.
She is merely a professional person doing a
Yep.
job
There you go.
with a really impressive expertise that I do
Fantastic
sure.
expertise.
100%.
admire
Yep.
Yes.
greatly.
Yes.
And we're going to stop there. And we're proud of you.
Okay.
Good
okay.
job.
Okay. I'll stop there.
Good job. Let's just jump through this list. Number 1, dirty. Not all pirates are dirty. Some dress up real nice. We all know this.
Hmm,
Not all pirates are dirty.
That's true.
Although a high percentage of pirates were dirtier than people who were not pirates, just based on the lack of washing facilities.
Relatively
true.
speaking,
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
they would have been dirtier then.
However,
Okay.
the seas, the ocean, big
Mhm.
water.
Yeah, but they
Are they
weren't
getting it-
necessarily they're not like dunking themselves in it all the time. You know, they had a lot of tasks and
Having a
Work.
bath in the sea. I don't
Yeah.
think they were doing that.
Not
No.
often, but sometimes.
especially some of the seas, you don't know what's going to eat you if you're in there and things like, and yeah, just in general. So like it wasn't. Let's not pretend the seas are a big splish splash bath.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend that the seas are a big
Yeah.
splash bath.
But apparently they weren't quite as dirty as Pirates of the Caribbean led us to
Pirates
believe,
of the
is what you're
Caribbean
saying.
really dirtied them up.
Yeah, they played it up.
Okay.
You know, it's artistic exaggeration. That's fine, but we
Okay.
should know the facts.
Yeah,
Number
some
2,
fancy dress pirates out there.
some fancy dress pirates. Number 2, cursed gold. We all know that the most cursed type of currency is nickels. Why did it have to be gold? Why'd they make it
Because
gold?
when you get a nickel, you're basically cursed to carry around
Yeah.
this nickel forever.
Speaking of our historian from last week, cursed, that was nickels. They were made of nickel.
Were they?
They were made of
I
nickel.
see.
It wasn't the value of a nickel. It was the material.
They were made of the metal nickel.
Yeah.
Mm.
Number 3, hats, not big enough.
The hats in Pirates of the Caribbean were not big enough.
No,
So historically speaking, they were bigger.
bigger hats.
Too small hats.
Mhm.
I'll bet they were trying to show off the faces of those actors more, so they
Yeah.
that makes
they were
sense.
tamping down the hats
Yeah,
to try and show off those sexy faces.
because if you spend that much on set design, you don't want the whole camera just to be the whole
Hat.
like the frame just to be hat.
Yeah.
True. But
Like you
again,
want to see some of the CGI that you have had a full floor of people working on. You want at least a little bit of it to make it in.
Mhm.
it's true. It's true.
And
But
you
again,
just
if we
see their dirty faces.
Yeah.
But if we were being just fully accurate historically, those hats would be like fill the whole frame.
Were they the
basically.
same type of hat? Just too small? Were they like a children's size?
Well, no,
on
they
the
were
Pirates?
still rather like big compared to like a baseball cap. But
Did they wear baseball caps?
I didn't spot one. No.
Okay.
So no.
But did they wear baseball caps in reality? I definitely
I
didn't
thought you
spot
said
one
in
in
the
the
movie.
movie. I definitely didn't spot it in the movie.
No one knows. No one knows if pirates
Hmm.
played baseball or not.
I
Just to say.
imagine some pirates made their own type of hats.
Oh, for sure.
You probably got pretty crafty when you're at sea
Yeah.
and you don't have access to buying stuff.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make some fun, you can turn some fun stuff into hats.
You can turn some fun stuff into
So a little
hats.
bit of wood falls off a piece of the ship. Boom, that's the brim of a hat right
Whittle
there.
into a hat.
All right.
Yeah.
Next
What
one.
would you, I'm kind of cool on this hat thing. What would you make a hat on a ship?
Can you phrase that as what would you make a hat on a ship?
Could you?
What would you make a hat on a ship?
Yeah.
What material or piece
Thank
of a
you.
ship
Mm,
or something that you would have on a pirate ship would you use as a hat
That's fair.
device?
That's
Mm.
less
Because a hat,
confusing.
what is a hat if not a device?
oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Little pearls of wisdom.
Pearls of
Hey.
wisdom.
Dishing 'em out.
Hey. Speaking of pearls, The Curse of the Black Pearl is the name of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Back to the
Yeah.
list.
Okay, so you
So-
don't want to go into the hats.
I don't have a good answer.
Okay, that's fair.
It's
'Cause
weird that he would just dodge that like a politician.
That's true. That's suspicious.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
You know
any
what,
materials
Bench?
I would make
You
hats out of.
don't wear a lot of hats. I've noticed this.
Yeah, I have.
Pointedly so.
Pointedly.
Yeah. Like it's a sunny day.
I have good
We're
hair.
all going to the sports game. You never wear a hat.
Like my hair is probably the best quality about me as a person. We all know this.
Mhm.
A lot of other stuff is bad. My hair is
Oh,
pretty
Bench, that stings to hear you put
Yeah, we all
yourself
know
down
it.
like
We
that.
all know it. It's
You have a
fine.
lot of great qualities, Bench, but
Thank
it's
you.
very one of the things I do love how honest you are with yourself.
Yeah, I look in the mirror and I'm like, I know what I'm saying. It's fine.
Again, it really it stings.
Yeah.
But again,
to
the
hear
hair-
someone say these things.
Hair
about
is
the hat.
good.
Hair is great.
I don't want to put a
Got
hat
fun
on
on.
it.
Okay,
I don't want to ruin it.
fair enough. And it kind of does offer some sun protection
Yep.
as well.
It's almost like you're considering your hair a hat and then to put a hat on it is a hat on a hat.
That's wordplay right
Yeah,
there.
that's almost
It's
like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Penny MacGuffin wordplay.
Mm-hmm. I
Nope.
just don't think it's as I don't think it's as powerful when we don't have the sound turned up on the noise that we
I don't think that's what
interject
happened. I think they just didn't
load into the
yeah, they shouldn't
system.
press it. I guess it just wasn't
Got
deserving
you.
of an air horn.
That makes sense.
They definitely had the levels right.
Yeah.
No.
Number 4.
Yeah.
So we all know about that one Mary Sue character, right? In the movie. So
Was there a character named Mary Sue?
no, but
Was
the
that
trope,
what Keira Knightley? I don't remember what her character name
no,
was.
the
I think
trope of Mary Sue characters is a character who like kind of doesn't learn anything and just is good at the thing that they just found out. Will
What?
Turner.
Sorry, what?
So,
And it was just as good as
I
the
will
thing.
explain.
Okay.
Will Turner, the character in the movie.
Right.
He is
Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom.
Really, that's a phenomenal name, Orlando Bloom.
I mean, and the fact
it
that
a stage
that's his
Good
name,
question.
Yeah.
the fact
is
that
it?
that's his name without knowing that he would be going into acting, like that could have been a butcher, Orlando Bloom, but that name's
If you had
wasted
a
on a
butcher
butcher.
named Orlando Bloom,
Yeah.
that would be the most fanciful butcher in
Yeah.
all the land.
But instead,
He's
like,
making some cuts of meat and turning them into flowers and stuff.
instead
Bloom.
perfect
Bloom.
for the acting.
True.
Mhm. Perfect for.
The acting.
So here's
Penny has an emphasis that I really
Acting.
admire. Go on, Bench.
my issue with his character William Turner.
Hmm.
He like starts doing like pirate
Overdrive.
stuff.
Turner Overdrive.
Sorry?
What?
Like the music. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry. Sorry that there's no culture here. Oh boy.
Culture Turner
Oh,
Overdrive?
you know
Is that a
what?
band?
You're talking Turner Overdrive.
Just
Is that a band?
Let's just move on. Both of you are looking at me with such confused eyebrows right now.
Is that a painter?
Used eyebrows.
The eyebrows are confused. The
What?
eyebrows are more confused, and it looks like you're giving yourself a headache now, Dirk. That's just you're just going for Amelia Clark in Game of Thrones over here with Bench, but like Dirk looks like that looks like a migraine inducing.
My eyebrows,
It's actually
like,
upsetting to look
They're
at.
like trying to fight. My eyebrows
Yeah,
are trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
fight each other.
Yeah, and your forehead looks
trying to
like
keep
it's
the peace.
spasming.
My
Yeah.
forehead is trying to keep them apart. It's like, hey, fellas.
It's a full Shakespearean tragedy happening just on your
Oh.
forehead.
It feels
Are
like
you
it every
okay?
day.
Do you want a paracetamol?
I need a cold glass of water
Yeah.
splashed on my
Just
face.
held onto it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the issue is just that he became good at pirating too quickly. I'm like, I wanted to see like a training montage where he does like pirate stuff and
Where
then
he
gets
throws
better
the
at it.
rope
Yeah, that was
from the
basically
ship
it.
to
Yeah.
the
Why
shore.
did he get on? Why did he join the pirates
to
again?
save her, to save
Yeah, but
Keira
why
Knightley.
was she?
Because of love.
She was kidnapped because she tried to I watched it recently. She tried to parlay them from stopping to bomb her town.
God,
So they
convoluted.
took her on the ship,
Selfless.
and then they
Oh.
thought that she said her last name was Turner, so they wouldn't know that she's the daughter of the governor.
That sounds
Um,
familiar.
That's the
Turner.
plot.
Mhm.
William Turner. That's the other guy.
Turner.
Overdrive?
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I love that band.
Yeah. So number 5, Tortuga.
Wait, so
Pirate
you wanted
Haven.
Will to have more of an
Just
arc?
more of a training. I was like, why is he
Sure.
so good in it? He just tried it for the first
What
time.
was he doing that he was so good at though?
Blacksmith.
Was he
He's a
blacksmithing?
And
blacksmith.
that-
He is a
apprentice.
blacksmith in those films.
Yeah.
It's so strange
Turned
to think
pirate.
that that is a interchangeable skill set.
If you were a blacksmith, though,
No, no,
You're
no, no,
making
no, no, no,
swords.
no, 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 no. Sorry.
bravo. If you were a blacksmith, you're making swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You're probably going to want to
Amongst
get
other things, maybe a
Amongst-
horseshoe,
amongst other things.
Horseshoe?
maybe an iron. Like
You
you would
might
make
make an
irons,
iron.
like old-fashioned irons before they went
True.
electric. You know, they were just like a heavyweight.
True.
Yeah.
But if you're making swords, presumably you would want to be able to use it.
I
Yeah.
believe that
So
is a
maybe
plot
that
point.
Well-
you can explain that that's why he was okay with
I-
a sword.
I believe
I
he actually
don't-
does say that he makes these and then practices with them. But
Okay.
I didn't see it.
Did he talk about making irons and practicing with those?
I wish he has.
This, though, I
Hmm.
think you've brought up a really interesting question
Thank
or
you.
an interesting point, which is I don't think everyone that makes something necessarily wants to use that end
Mm.
product.
True.
That's true.
Now,
I never
in this
listened to the
instance-
radio.
Yeah.
Ever.
Like, ugh,
No.
why? In this instance, yes, he made a sword. He wants to use the sword. But I bet there's a lot of people that, I don't know, maybe are like work in a butcher's but don't particularly want to eat chicken.
If Orlando
Yeah.
Bloom
You know?
was a butcher,
Like,
maybe
wouldn't
he's
wanna-
vegetarian.
Yeah.
maybe
We
he's,
don't know that.
Maybe he's like eating a
You're
different
making-
diet.
Yeah. If you're a blacksmith making a sword, you're just like, oh,
Ugh.
I don't want to
Yeah.
look at these swords anymore.
Feels like a busman's holiday. Just going on the
What?
bus again. Busman's holiday.
You have these turns
So
of
Is that a
phrases.
band?
busman-
Wait, is that a,
Yeah.
is that a band?
So a
A
busman's holiday.
The busman's holiday. Busman's
That's
holiday.
when,
That's
like,
a band.
Basically, the bus driver would go on holiday on a bus trip,
Okay,
but
that I
he's just
could have
back
guessed.
on the bus. So it's like, ugh, how much of a
That
holiday is
is
it if you're
sounds
back
like
on the
such
bus?
a North Driftwood thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
Yeah.
that expression.
Love
a
it.
busman's holiday.
Yeah.
Busman's
Back
holiday.
on the bus.
Back on the bus.
But he's in a different part of the bus going to a
Fair
place.
enough, he's not driving, but he feels like he's just back at his work.
Mm.
You know.
Staycation.
Are a lot of that does that
No.
Sorry, just the fact that Ben just says staycation just landed with me. That implies a lot of bus travel.
Yeah, well, obviously, like there was a time where, we weren't doing like international flights, like taking a boat
Trains.
off. I mean, not so much in the Isles when there's so many delightful
Maybe in
bus
North
holidays.
Driftwood is there
yeah.
not that much train
Not that much train
coverage?
travel.
Yeah.
So it's
But
mostly
like you
buses.
would, you'd go on a little coach trip to a different side of the Isle, different beach, get like
okay.
a little hotel.
And if you drive a
for the
bus
weekend.
in one side, you're like, ugh, on the bus again.
Well,
Not this
yeah.
again.
So
I wonder if a bus driver is ever on a bus. You're like, I could drive this bus better.
100%. Well,
Yeah,
how many
probably.
times have you been in
Backseat driving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a
Yeah.
bus.
or like how many times?
Way backseat. Just like
Just
way in the
all
back
on
of the
that,
bus,
and then-
yelling
yeah.
across to the front of the bus.
I mean, how many times has it been your day off, but you've had to come in here to do a meeting or something, but you're not actually scheduled to be on the radio, and then you find yourself in the studio going, "Oh, back here again. I could do a better job."
That's true.
Yeah.
You know?
And then I overhear the show that's going on.
Mhm.
People just dropping the ball left and
Yeah.
right.
They don't get it.
They don't
Yeah.
have the sounds turned up when they want to press the air horn.
It really is appalling when that happens.
It's offensive,
It's unprofessional.
and I would hate for that to happen.
They
You
here.
see these
come
like
in with
money
the-
talk sort of guys
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about that, and they're supposed to use all sorts of sound effects to do the money
Yeah.
bits. You know, the cha-ching, the dollar bill y'all,
Mhm.
The-
all different kinds of
And
sound
you
effects.
just play those.
Yeah.
That is you playing those examples.
Yeah, I happen to hit the button right
Exactly.
in
Yeah, yeah.
tune
You timed
because
it.
I'm a professional. I always have the levels turned exactly where they need to
Exactly.
be,
Yeah.
and I am able to play the sound effects so that it sounds like it's just in line with my
Yeah.
normal speech.
Also, not to shit on our like fellow programs in
Language.
here, but they always like they have their topic and then they keep going off on like tangents that
Yeah.
take way longer than
yeah,
just like
it's like
talking
you're
about
not
the
even
thing you
not
started
talking about those stocks anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just
You're
talking
talking
about
about
random you
Cute
latched on-
dog that's in the studio or something.
Yeah, not
or
to
someone
shed on.
said a word
yeah.
weird and now that's the whole
Now
thing.
that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, no, get back to the news,
Yeah.
get back to the Financial Times, get back to the important business of the radio.
Number 5, Tortuga is significantly more fun than they made it look. So Tortuga is like the pirate outpost, like city where they go
Can't
to like
believe we're only
parties.
at number
Mm.
5.
They make it look they are drunk, they're fighting, they're partying. It's so much more fun, right?
So Tortuga is a fun place.
You've never been?
I no more.
It's
Everyone tells me I need to go. It's one of the most popular destinations from
Yeah.
Driftwood because we are so
Yeah.
such a pirate-loving
You just-
island.
Yeah, you just don't want to have a Tortuga man's holiday, though, do you? Where you're already hanging about Tortuga, and then you go on holiday, and then you go back to Tortuga. Ugh.
So is this for residents of Tortuga?
Yeah,
Who
imagine.
they have a Tortuga holiday,
Yeah.
Tortuga man's holiday.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, is it? Oh, now they're off, but they're still
in
there.
Tortuga.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Man,
can you imagine?
the turns of phrase in the North really are just so beautiful.
We are poets.
Speaking of poets, number 6,
This was a 10 list, right?
it
a
is
10 list.
okay,
Okay,
it is
just checking.
10. We're getting
Okay.
there. Number 6, a phrase they say a lot in these movies is "dead men tell no tale."
Did
Heard
you
of-
Sorry,
say that?
so sorry, you have to do that one
sorry
more
about
time.
Bench. I don't, you know, I hate. I'm glad that we're not like these other shows that get stuck on someone mispronouncing something or missaying
Mhm.
something.
It just
This
to
particular
me,
instance, you totally destroyed that
it
sentence.
sounded to me like there was a animal tail midway through instead of the tailing off, and I just want to double check to make sure I got it right or wrong.
It's "dead men tell no tale."
Okay, that's different to how he said it before, but
Gotcha.
that seems right now.
It's almost
Wasn't
as
it
if I was
tails,
trying to
plural?
rattle through it so I can get it out before.
No, I think we
No.
need to get really granular to make, especially when it's the focal point of the entire
Yeah.
number 6.
Yeah.
Which we need to make sure we.
Our listeners deserve clarity and just all-round pronunciation.
Mm-hmm.
All-round pronunciation.
All-round pronunciation.
pronunciation.
Why
Yes.
do we do our vocal warm-ups if not to give them the news, the opinions, and the general what's on with every single consonant rattling through the microphone?
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Beautifully
Beautifully
said.
said.
Beautifully
Bench, what is
said.
this phrase?
Dead men tell no tale. So
It's definitely tails, right?
I thought it was tails. I thought it was plural.
it might be.
Because why would they
Genuinely,
not tell?
I don't know.
Why would they not tell like one story? You
Well,
know,
they don't
like,
tell
no
stories.
tales.
is the
Yeah,
thing. It's a
Like I
saying.
assumed
Yeah.
it would be like they had a bunch of stories rather than like there's one story and we will not tell anyone.
it might be.
Don't tell them the story.
Don't tell them this. Don't tell them that.
My issue with that is heard of Shakespeare much?
I mean,
What?
yeah,
He's dead. We still tell those tales.
We do, but he doesn't.
Well, but he's immortal.
Shakespeare.
What?
The immortal bard?
He's not telling them himself.
No.
Well, but he did, and they're still being
Yeah,
told.
when he was alive.
But they're still being
And
told.
then he
But then
died
that's
and
kind
he
of the
stopped
same.
telling the
That's
tales.
literally the same as what the pirates are doing, I assume.
Yeah.
What?
Like dead men. Oh my god, we're gonna be here for days.
Okay, number 7.
No.
Let's just move
No.
on.
No.
Are you sure? Are
Yep.
you sure?
I am positive.
Sure.
Dead men tell no tales.
Let's break it down.
Yes.
Great.
Also, that's implying that there's all these gossipy pirates out here telling all kinds of tales and telling everyone else's business.
I'm with you. Again, this is a saying from the movie that I have an issue with. I don't
Mhm.
think it's accurate.
You think dead men do tell tales?
Yes.
I still don't see how that holds up. Also, you
I
can.
don't. Yeah. So and let's just tie it once again back to Shakespeare. So we believe Shakespeare. You don't believe dead men tell tales, but Shakespeare tells tales, and he's
I
dead.
do believe that
And
dead
this is
men
where-
tell tales.
You do believe dead men
I
tell
do.
tales.
They
Okay.
don't.
Via
I do.
writing is writing
Right.
the thing.
That's basically it. Yeah.
That
Mhm.
feels like a cop out.
Yeah.
Is it?
Writing.
That's
That's a tale.
yeah. It is.
That's a tale. Bench.
If you don't tell tales by writing, how do you tell them?
Verbally.
Okay, radio.
Verbally.
Yeah, like a champion.
This is radio. okay?
Tell it say it with your
This-
chest.
This
Tell
is radio.
Tell it to my face. Say it with your chest.
Say what?
Write it in a little note. The tales, man.
And that's
The
that's
tales,
what you
my
have to-
guy.
and you say that after every Shakespeare performance you see, right?
I say
Yeah.
say it with your chest.
I mean, one thing
And
that
then afterwards, I wait behind for that at the backstage door for the
You
casting
wait
out, and I say,
behind the
say it to
stage.
my face.
And that's the
Yes.
thing. You never wait like at stage door to like when everyone is waiting to have like their program signed by actors. You wait
Mhm.
behind the door.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I
they walk
surprise
out
them.
and you.
The element of surprise is
Just-
part of
yeah.
this, and then I say it to my face,
'Cause you
and
have
they
to
say
wait-
what, and then I say the play to my face now here.
because I think that's what gives it the
Coward.
added extra of just like they step out, the door closes, you've been behind the
Yeah,
door,
yeah.
they hear the door lock, they turn around, they find you standing there.
Now
Like,
I've got
it
them
is
trapped,
there's no escape from the way that they came
which
in.
I tell them.
They can't go
I say,
forward
"You're
because there's too many adoring fans waiting to get things signed. All they can do is recreate the play for you word for word at this fire escape.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Number
I
7.
say you're trapped. Say it to
Did
my
we not do
face.
7 already?
That was 6. No, we
Oh,
didn't get to
okay.
7.
Okay.
Number 7.
Great film.
Great film. The real Captain Jack Sparrow was, in fact, a sparrow that commandeered a Dutch frigate and terrorized the 7 seas. It's a fun fact. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Why wasn't that the movie?
It's
Right?
weird to
That's
me.
a better
yeah.
movie.
I
Such a
agree.
good story.
That's a much better movie.
That would be
Also,
more interesting.
you could give him the nice Jack Sparrow hair and the eyeliner,
Could
and
do
he
the
could be
whole-
a
Yeah.
Well,
drunk
that's-
little rascal.
That
and-
is the thing, though, because that is where the inspiration for the character choice came from. Was that
Ah,
from the
Sparrow's
real
look?
Sparrow.
Like
That
that
part-
Sparrow had like a real definitive style.
so that
Yeah.
part was
Like-
accurate.
Very trendy
Yes,
Sparrow.
very much.
Fantastic.
Number 8.
Fantastic.
The real Elizabeth Swan was, in fact, a swan that commandeered a Dutch frigate and terrorized the 7 seas.
That swan
Man.
also appeared in Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, that's
Very
gorgeous.
good at that.
hmm
Beautiful. I'm really judging harshly the security of Dutch frigates. the fact that a swan
No, to be fair,
and a sparrow
That's accurate, yeah.
Those were ruthless.
that have now taken over two of them.
the Dutch,
Not now.
yeah.
Those in the past, but yeah.
I believe there were a lot of meetings that the Dutch had to pull together just to be like, maybe our frigates are a little bit too easy to to
Clearly.
capture and to raid. And they had a lot of like internal reflection to go, maybe a swan shouldn't be overtaken at 200, 300 men in some instances. Like, that's embarrassing.
And there was that swan and that sparrow both individually led their crew better than the men who were captains before that.
If you think about a swan as well, swans aren't necessarily oceanic creatures.
No.
Like,
True.
it's strange to find them out there. So the fact that swan is doing that in a habitat that's not necessarily their home habitat, even more kudos to them.
Even more condemning
How did that
of the
swan
Dutch.
get there? Famously, they're fond of lakes.
Yeah. Did the swan and the sparrow meet one another? Did they exist at the same time period?
It was a thing.
And did they ever meet?
Or was it one of those films where it's like, or TV shows where it's like two different time periods, but they're both doing like a linear story that's moving towards sort of the same
An
outcome?
anthology.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, but like more sort of like a split time parallel storyline system.
So sort of a
And
parallel
like, there is
narrative.
one, like, if there's like a squirrel in one of them, that's like a baby in one, and then it's like an older one.
Yeah. Or like if there was a team of, I don't know, like young football starlets and they crashed in the woods, then the other half of the show would be them as older people with families and relationships and jobs now and like a dark history.
Good show.
I think it sounds like
that.
I think it would be really good for, I don't know, season 1, season 2, and then I think season 3, I don't know if I'd have the plot lines to really hold on at that point.
But if you had a sparrow and a swan as protagonists, I feel like you could mine that
Oh
for
my God, yeah.
6-7 seasons.
Or
of
several
storylines.
movies as well.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that the movie?
There would be more films in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise if they had stayed true to history and had it been a swan and a sparrow.
Number 9. The real Black Pearl was, in fact, a pearl that commandeered a Dutch frigate and terrorized the seven seas.
Can I just say,
these Dutch people of pirate times, Dutch pirates really needed to pull themselves together.
I don't want to accuse anything of this listicle, but it does feel like the last 3 of them have just kind of been, the real one was a very on the nose actual description. Like I'm worried.
Are you worried about the listicle or history?
The list, just that maybe the listicle, maybe the history is starting to get very samey and that there's a repetitive pattern. And I worry about how many more.
They could have grouped them together. They could have grouped them together so we would have more.
Yeah.
I feel like each of them is its own individual problem.
And like we're still a couple numbers away from 10,
we just have one.
which makes
that was 9.
That was 9. Okay, good. Because I was like, do not tell me there's like 2 or 3 more of just very on the nose.
No, that would make no sense.
Yeah, because that would be embarrassing for the listicle.
But you know who?
And embarrassing for the Dutch.
For the Dutch and for the directors, writers, whoever did.
Gore Verbinski.
Lovely.
Question mark?
Producer or director?
Director.
Lovely director. But I'm like, well, artistic choices.
Whenever someone says lovely director about someone in Hollywood, I really
don't know him as a person.
Like to agree or disagree until I have fully Googled.
100%. I enjoy his movies, but I wish they were more historically accurate. That's all I'm saying.
Fair.
Number
Very
10.
Fair.
Number 10. Last one. All right.
Ooh.
The real Captain Barbossa.
Oh my God.
Was in fact a one-handed captain with a hook for hand and a big squiggly mustache who fought Peter Pan. We all know this. He subsequently also commandeered a Dutch frigate and terrorized the seven seas.
That one, I blame the Dutch less. That sounds like an intimidating, serious man who could take over a ship.
Like he's lost a hand to a crocodile or alligator.
Crocodile, I think.
And an alarm clock. Was that right? Oh, I can't even remember. But
I think the crocodile had swallowed the clock as well. And or maybe it was his wristwatch. Was that the thing?
It was an alarm clock for some reason. Because wasn't there an alarm? I don't know. But either way, that happens, and then that guy turns up with like an increased sense of vengeance. The Dutch I can understand being overrun at that point.
Yeah. That does sound similar to a different film, Peter Pan.
Oh, 100%. That's the plot line to Peter Pan.
Yeah, that's based on the same real guy.
So does Peter Pan have a have a copyright
Dirk, let me explain this
claim
to you.
against Pirates of the
I
Caribbean?
absolutely can explain this to you. So you know how there's the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Sure.
Basically, this is like that, whereby every story is
Ooh.
connected. So Peter Pan is connected to Pirates of the Caribbean.
So
like,
is Peter
they're
Pan
all-
basically like a prequel
Yes.
to Pirates
So-
of the Caribbean?
And
Kind
then
of,
if
yeah.
you watch Pirates of the Caribbean really, really closely and you get to the end of the end credits, you'll see one of the Lost Boys just walks up and goes, "We want to start an Avengers program." And that's how it all circles back. It circles
Ooh.
back and it makes
And when Penny
perfect
says,
sense.
when
Love
Penny
it.
says, "Do you know the Marvel Cinematic Universe?" She means all of this is actively in the,
In the
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
yeah.
Ah, I missed those films. I kind of lost track at a certain point.
There's
It's
too
tough
many
to
of
keep
them
up.
to keep
You
up.
never know which movie you're going to go watch ends up being a part of the Marvel Cinematic
It's
Universe.
true.
Yeah.
You go and see Paddington, and all of a sudden at the end, it's like
Yeah.
Marvel logo comes up. It's like, he's one of them now?
Yeah.
Honestly, I once watched the news at 6 and it was talking about the stock market crash. And at the end of it, Samuel L. Jackson stepped out. And I was like, this has been MCU the whole time?
That's actually
Crazy.
a happy twist, because
Yeah.
then that means the stock market wouldn't have actually crashed in
Well,
that eventuality.
I think it kind of has them. I think
Oh,
it'll
it
be
did?
I think it'll be a couple more films until they kind of work it out, you know.
I see.
I think it might be like I think they're dragging it out to see if they can get maybe like a 2-3 hour film
Hmm.
out of it, and then
Just out
maybe
of stock market crashing.
maybe
what
it'll fix
superhero
itself.
would save the stock market?
It's a great question. I'm gonna think about this.
What superhero would save the stock market?
Storm.
Also, can I just say, it
feel like
sounds.
I feel like Storm can do a lot of cool stuff.
Storm's is some cool stuff.
Still, yeah.
Can I
like
also say
Storm.
that sounds like the start
Storm's
of a
my favorite.
joke?
What
What's-
what
yeah.
superhero would save the stock market?
I don't know. What superhero would save the stock market?
Probably Storm.
Yeah.
I
mean,
She's
as
like a
a-
sensible, smart person.
Yeah.
she just
seems
seems
legit.
on top of it.
Yeah.
Like as a person
I
in her
respect.
own life.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
probably makes prudent financial decisions.
Mhm.
I hope she does.
I respect that.
Anyway, that's a list of
Actually, I figured
Oh.
it out.
Oh,
Because she would know, she could basically, like, natural disasters can have massive effects on the
Yeah.
stock market.
sure.
They can disrupt shipping lines. They can affect wide swaths of crops.
Chain supply.
She could totally have massive effects on the stock market
Right. I have a pitch.
by helping crop yields.
I have an alt take on this,
So
which
then
is
there's a big supply, right? This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
solid.
No,
okay.
that
No,
makes sense.
that's
That's
quite
tracks.
solid. But also Professor X.
Yeah.
We're talking Xavier here.
Mhm.
He has
Charles.
the mind powers. He can see things. He can read minds.
Mm.
He surely knows what's going on at any given moment. Like he could go into a boardroom and be like, this guy's dodgy. Oh, this guy's working the stock market in a certain way. I think the stocks are going to rise. I think they're going to fall. I feel like I would have some trust in him. Or my other alt take is Magneto, because it's all computers and he's just magnetic. So he
True.
would just do some wizardry.
However,
Just do
can
some
I
magnets.
also pitch one
Mhm.
that I think
Please.
could do it? And she is Magneto's daughter, the Scarlet Witch, because she can change reality, so she can just
What?
make the stock market better.
Better.
Mm-hmm.
That seems,
She
yeah.
has very indefinable and very strong powers, I feel like, so she could
Then if
probably
we're
figure
going
it
to go
out.
into that, though, then when we just do kind of like Dark Phoenix as well.
You
like
could.
if
You're
we're
losing
gonna,
me. You're losing me. with
She
Oh,
was
this.
in like
Quicksilver
the
is so
third
fast.
one.
Quicksilver's
Fourth?
so fast, he can go fix it.
Yeah,
Quicksilver
yeah.
so fast?
Quicksilver so fast.
How would
So
he fix
fast.
it?
It's so fast.
Run around the
By
room
so
really
fast.
quickly.
Okay.
Buy,
I
sell,
don't
sell, buy, sell, sell,
I'll be
sell, buy.
honest, it has been a really long time since I've watched or partaken in any of the X-Men franchise. So
Yeah.
I am going based on real sketchy memory.
That's fair. I do think if you combined Professor X and Storm,
Oh, look out.
that's a financial powerhouse.
Yeah.
They should start a brokerage. And it's honestly shameful that they're not wealthier than they are.
Professor X and Storm LLC brokerage, then like the partners in the firm, and then you could start a TV show that was like a drama set at the stockbrokers, and
I
then
love
the
this.
the interpersonal minglings of all of them within it,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And
it
they have
turns
it
out
all.
that's part of the MCU.
No.
I'm in. I'm sold.
Sold.
I would love this film, this
Yeah.
television show. It should be a series. There's so many twists and turns.
So many, yeah. I
arcs
think I already from the
affecting
loose
financial markets.
plotline that appeared to me in my head there, I think it needs 23, 24 episodes.
You know what you can do, though? You
Hour
can
long.
have a thing where you have a young Storm and Professor X
Yep.
and an older one, and like stuff happens to them in parallel.
Parallel.
And then,
You're really seeing the sort of same moral messages being lived out in like two different time periods.
And we see them
Exactly.
super wealthy in the future, and
Mhm.
but they
Yes.
start off sort of plucky, and
How
it's like,
did
how
they
did they
get
get
there?
there?
Yeah.
exactly.
By intense market manipulation via weather systems and telepathy.
Television and film so easy.
It's
Yeah.
so easy.
So
Should
easy.
we release this
100%.
footage? Because I feel like we should keep this to ourselves and write up.
Oh well,
right up a tree.
we can
Dirk,
come up with
Dirk,
100 million more of these easily.
Dirk, I hate to
That's
tell
true.
you, we're live on the radio.
That's
it's
also
out there.
true. Yeah,
It's out
we
there
are
already.
live.
We've talked this openly in
If
front
only
of
we
listeners.
had mind powers to wipe people's brains.
Yeah, that would
Like-
be good.
Financial powerhouse Professor X
And Storm LLC
and
brokerage.
Storm LLC brokerage, financial partners.
I wish we had a
Savings
theme
and bond.
song. Maybe next time we'll
Give
have
us
a
one.
thing.
Throw one out, Bench.
Yeah,
I
don't like it. It sounds like Seinfeld's.
It feels like it's undercutting the drama of the
Yeah,
show.
it
Well,
feels
you put
like
me on the spot.
someone's gonna burst through a door and go, "Wah!" and like make
I'm
a whole
think-
big
you
deal.
know what I'm thinking
Yeah,
of?
like they're
I'm
going to
thinking-
drop the like financial
Ugh.
documents,
I'm
and the
thinking of, like,
papers are going to go
Oh.
everywhere.
I'm thinking of the music from Becker. That's what I want it to be, but not that.
Right.
You know, which is
Mhm.
like there is a little jazzy, rocky kind of like guitar riff. That's what I want for this.
Okay, sort of 80s style.
Yeah,
I like that. I could get behind that now.
Mm,
Becker.
I'm gonna need pitches from other musicians before I truly settle.
I'm not a musician.
I'm gonna need pitches from. I just think we should speak to a few different agents and get a couple
Do you have any-
people in for some meets.
Do you have any bands you have in mind?
Oh, I'm not even thinking bands.
Turner?
I'm totally thinking we're gonna go for a composer. We're paying the big bucks here.
John
What
Williams.
about a DJ? What about like a dubstep DJ? Wah, 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 wah.
I wasn't thinking that, but now that you mention it,
Would Terry do it?
Terry.
Oh, I thought that's where you were
fucking
going.
Woo.
language.
If we get Terry to do this,
I can get Terry on board
Terry,
in one phone call.
100%.
Yeah.
I just tell him he loves Storm. If I mention Storm, he's gonna be on board. I guarantee you. Me and Terry Wu, Storm fans number one.
hmm
Me and Terry Wu, Storm fans number one. We will absolutely put all of our efforts behind this project.
Let's make the call.
let's do it.
Let's make the call.
Let's
All
do it.
right. And on that note, we're gonna kick it to a break. We'll call Terry Wu during that break. Good Morning Driftwood is brought to you by Flottingham's Fake Plants. You think you're too good for fake plants? Get off your high horse, you big jerk. I love an aggressive advertising campaign. And with modern technology, these fake plants look better than real plants, and they don't turn into a sad, droopy mess after 8 days. So, deck your house or apartment out with the finest fake plants you can get. Flottingham's Fake Plants. Flottingham's Fake Plants. You ain't shit, buy these plants. Good Morning Driftwood is executive produced and hosted by Zach Stewart, Laura Hotchkiss, and Daniel Kvoras. Engineered and produced by Zach Stewart. Music by Daniel Kvoras.